Hey, hi, hello. Well, okay, today we're going to be watching it's a true crime daily. Snowboarder beaten and stabbed to death in Wyoming wilderness.
A snowboarder celebrating his birthday on the picturesque slopes of Jackson Hole. Home comes to a brutal end.
I miss him.
Yeah.
I miss not being able to talk to him.
Then wrapped, beaten, stabbed, and buried in the remote wilderness. Detectives are baffled until a mystery man emerges with a vital clue.
This is a huge break.
This is huge, right? Oh, yeah.
Four persons of interest, two arrests, one unexpected twist.
The ruggy they pulled out from underneath us.
Michelle Sedona investigates the murder on the mountain.
Hi, it's Michelle Sagona from Crime Watch Daily.
Plus, the $5,000 a night Russian call girl accused of putting the squeeze on New York love dove Elliot Spitzer. Cops say she blackmailed him out of $400 grand. It's claimed he tried to choke her in a luxury hotel. Today, from Russia with love and extortion.
She claimed that if he didn't pay up, she would divulge every little dirty detail.
Right now,
Andrea Eisenberg with Crime Watch Daily.
Jason Mattel with Crime Watch Daily.
this
I'm Elizabeth. I'm here with Crime Watch. I'm Anna Garcia from Crime Watch.
is Crime Watch Daily.
We'll find you again. We always do.
Welcome to Crime Watch Daily, everyone. I'm Chris Hansen. We start today with an ugly crime near one of the most stunning places in the world, the popular ski destination of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Michelle Sedona is there now with today's troubling murder mystery. Hey, Michelle.
Chris, it's here in beautiful Jackson Hole, Wyoming, that Ben Bradley found his piece on the slopes. But police say it's on the road to this popular ski destination that Bradley found something else, a killer. Ben Bradley, a young man in love with life and the deep powder.
You turned into the total ski bum. Skiing was number one.
He always took the high road and took the fastest way down again. Until his journey brought him to a sudden dead end. Brutally beaten and stabbed to death. His body discovered in the middle of the Wyoming wilderness, while his murderer remains at large.
I was just wanted to spend a few moments to talk with him. 'Cause I know he's here right now.
And some say the law let his killer go free.
What does the DA do?
Nothing. After that point, he says, we're stopping the case, and then that was the end of it.
Ben Bradley is a mountain man, starting from a very early age.
He got really good at the snowboarding. Really good.
When you would watch him sort of go down the mountain on this snowboard, what does he look like?
Oh, it looks like he's in control.
Well, as a mother, I freaked out.
Everyone, go for it.
When he comes of age, 6'5", Ben moves from his California home to Winterport, Colorado to be closer to the slopes. His life consists of eating, sleeping, and snowboarding, and working odd jobs off-season.
Everybody knew who he was. He was just very well liked and very well known.
They called him the Gentle Giant.
The gentle giant.
And now Ben heads out to another favorite spot, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, about 450 miles away. He plans to celebrate his 29th birthday with friends the best way he knows how, by snowboarding off a glacier. And he's using his favorite mode of travel, his thumb.
He hitchhiked a number of places.
He didn't think anything about it.
I knew his birthday was coming up, so I called early. I wished him happy birthday and told him I loved him and to be careful.
We actually both remember saying happy birthday to him on the
Yeah,
phone.
it's on the phone. So that was the last time I talked to him.
Later that day, he makes it to Rock Springs, Wyoming, and calls them back. But his parents are out driving in an area with no reception, and the call doesn't go through.
We know he was picked up in Roxbury because we had the cell phones checked into, and his last phone call was from the south side there in Rock Springs. Right.
When they don't hear from him the next couple of days, Ben's parents take it in stride. One thing they know about their son, he can take care of himself.
He would just go off to the side of the road in the forest there, and he'd open up his bag and sleep. It's not something he hasn't done before. I've known him actually to go up in the wilderness for 4 days and just camp out in the wilderness.
They also know that he would never miss a ski day. And as the days pass, Ben's friends at Jackson Hole become worried when they don't see him.
They called us up and said, look, Ben was supposed to be here this weekend, and he didn't show up.
What did you guys think?
Just kind of freaked out because that's not really like him.
I knew that's where he wanted to be, and that's not like him.
Alarmed, Ben's parents fly out to Rock Springs.
I lost a little bit of heart in at that time because I just looked down and I said, the chances of us finding him here, it's just a vast nothingness.
They began a desperate search for Ben in the unforgiving western Wyoming landscape.
And we were just driving up and then pull out. Road rest, dirt road that looked like it might have been used. Mary was pretty upset. You know, she was yelling for Ben's name out there a couple times.
They hand out pictures of Ben all the way up to Jackson Hole, but there was no sign of him. They fly home again and post his picture on a missing persons website, an experience that only increases their worries and fears as the reality sinks in.
We were astonished at how many people are on that webpage and not found, and that scared me.
And then, 3 months after Ben goes missing, a possible break. Ben's backpack is turned into police by a man named Tommy Bowman, who says he found it soon after Ben disappeared. Bowman claims it was floating in a river about 70 miles south of where Ben was last reported.
He had observed one of the missing person flyers that Ben's parents had put up in the hopes of locating Ben. He told the records clerk at Rock Springs Police Department that he had the missing person's backpack. There were some personal belongings inside the backpack, and one of them was a vehicle title that had the name Benjamin Bradley on it.
But there's something about the story that doesn't sit right with police.
He knew who the bag belonged to.
Correct.
And for some odd reason, all these months later, he comes forward.
That's correct.
Is that a red flag for you?
It absolutely is.
Just 2 days later, Ben's parents get a terrible call. Their Ben has been found, murdered, blunt force trauma to the head, and multiple stab wounds. His body dumped at a remote site in central Wyoming, in the shadow of a foreboding natural landmark called Boar's Tusk, about 30 miles, mostly dirt road, north of Rock Springs.
There was a couple that were out by Boar's Tusk looking for Indian artifacts, and they just saw something off to the side of the dirt road, and I guess their child saw it. And so they stopped the car and walked over there and came upon Ben, found Ben. He wasn't buried, he was just left out.
Mary, let me ask you, when you heard Ben had been found and he was outside for all that time,
I was always hoping, and then I found out he was gone, and that was hard. It was very hard. They didn't tell us what his body was like until much, much later. And I'm glad I didn't know, because I couldn't have found him.
We've never seen any pictures of them after the fact, even though they have plenty of them. I'm not interested in seeing them.
On his body, cops find Ben's ID and cell phone, along with several $100s. Police are puzzled.
and so at this point, are you ruling out robbery as a motive?
We haven't ruled anything out even at this point as far as what a motive would be.
Where's Ben's snowboard?
But we haven't ever located that.
His snowboard was taken.
Correct.
His family and friends are left in shock and sorrow, unable to comprehend who could possibly do this to their son.
We miss him.
Always miss them. And it's a hard thing for any family to lose a loved one.
I miss him.
Yeah.
I miss not being able to talk to him. It's hard. He was such a sweetheart.
He was a good kid. and it's just a lot of fun.
But they will wait a very long time for any answers.
We're on the phone a lot with the detectives. The story ran for a long time, and they were finding all kinds of information.
Next, as Ben's case grows colder every day, a stunning development breaks the ice.
Apparently he knew stuff that nobody else would have known.
This is a huge break.
This is a huge break. Oh, yeah.
We're back now with more of our all-new investigation into the murder of Ben Bradley. Let's head back to Wyoming and our Michelle Segunda.
Chris, Ben Bradley was a free spirit. He loved life, people, and most of all, snowboarding. So he decided to take off on foot with his favorite snowboard in hand for an epic birthday ride. Sadly, he would never make it to Jackson Hole. After the shocking discovery of Ben Bradley's remains at Boar's Tusk, there's no doubt about how he was killed. But there are still no clues as to who did it and why.
Do you believe he was murdered at Boar's Tusk or murdered somewhere else?
We really don't know for sure.
And Tommy Bowman's story about finding Ben's backpack is a suspicious lead that only goes so far.
Do you feel that maybe he has more information than what he's letting on?
Absolutely, he does.
Police give Bowman a polygraph test. He is not named a suspect in the case, but cops keep a close eye on him.
In all the interviews, his statement has never been consistent.
But his decision to go on national television with his story about how he found the backpack leaves lawmen baffled.
How did you find this backpack that belonged to the man who was murdered?
This was back in June. I was out jet skiing with my best friend Tania and stumbled across it floating in the water from one of the main beaches.
It actually appears on the Greta Van Susteren show. Were you surprised?
Absolutely. At first, especially the information that Tommy was giving us was not accurate. Tommy implicated other people being with him when he located the backpack, which was not true.
Did you track those people down?
We did. In fact, those people were watching because he had called them and said, "Hey, I'm going to be on TV," and they were astonished to find out that he had dropped their name. And he also indicated that he showed no deception in that polygraph.
Is that accurate?
No, it's not.
So in his polygraph, there is deception.
Correct.
But the case gets blown wide open when this man enters the picture. His name is Eric Kahn. He was sitting in jail 1,100 miles away in St. Louis, Missouri on another charge. During his interview with police there, he starts talking about the details of Ben Bradley's death, details that had never been released before, and that puts Ben's murder case on the front burner at full boil.
He was here in our community within the time frame of Ben's disappearance.
And he's giving you some pretty detailed information.
He implicated himself in Ben Bradley's death.
To this day, police are keeping most of those chilling details to themselves, but they are sure that Kahn is the real deal.
Would you say that he's giving you information that's never been shared with the public before?
He has.
And would you say that you learned more about Ben's death through Eric Kahn?
We did, with Eric Kahn's statement and the evidence that we did have. It corroborated his story.
Kahn also reportedly told federal agents in a separate interview that he and two other unnamed males attacked Ben after spending hours partying, and that one man hit him with an axe handle before the second man stabbed him. Kahn is arrested shortly after and charged with first-degree murder in the killing of Ben Bradley. And what's more, his testimony links him to Tommy Bowman, the guy who says he found the backpack while jet skiing on the river.
What was he charged with?
Accessory after the fact of homicide. Absolutely was. Probably one of the best days as a detective that I had, and we're going to have an end finally for the records.
But there's more to come. Detectives pull the thread and more persons of interest come spilling out, like these two local men about town, Tracy Warren and Chris Dove.
There's been several people that have come forward and implicated Tracy Warren with the homicide and have put Tracy Warren with Ben Bradley prior to his death. Chris Dove was a roommate of Tracy Warren, is also an acquaintance of Tommy Bowman, and there's a circle of people that were more than likely active in criminal events in that area.
Warren and Dove have not been charged in the murder, but it looks like the law has been dealt a pretty good hand in cracking this case. And then, only days before the trial, Eric Kahn throws a monkey wrench into the case that brings the wheels of justice to a screeching halt. He now says he has an alibi.
The trial is approaching. The Bradleys are set to come here. Everyone's on board. And the case crumbles.
Correct.
What happens?
Eric Kahn had told his defense attorney that he was actually in custody on June 2nd in Los Angeles, California.
That's pretty much the date cops have pinpointed as Ben's disappearance. But Kahn claims there is no way he was even in Wyoming at that time.
Is that accurate?
It is. We went back and looked at the records of the jail and probation and parole in Los Angeles County, and that is correct.
Ken and Mary Bradley are skeptical. Ben's remains were found months after his disappearance. The exact time and date of his murder remains unknown. They believe Kahn had time to do the murder and be in Los Angeles, give or take a few days.
We don't know if Ben is killed on a Thursday, on a Friday, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, on a
Could
Monday.
even be Monday or Tuesday. It could have been held.
Incredibly, the district attorney cancels the court date, and everyone suspected is kicked free and charges are dropped against Eric Kahn and Tommy Bowman. It is a crushing blow to investigators and family that still hurts today.
He says, we're stopping the case, and we're going to look a little bit further into it, and then that was the end of it.
The rug had been pulled out from underneath us. We understand that there's rules we have to play by, and we have to do things procedurally correct. But we also understand that everything that we have is on our side, and there will be a conclusion.
Cops say they are building evidence in this case. And all four men, Kahn, Bowman, Warren, and Dove, remain persons of interest in Ben's murder.
Would it be safe to say that you're keeping a close eye on all those involved in this case?
We know where everybody is, yes.
Police say Kahn, Warren, and Dove are currently in custody on separate, unrelated charges. We've reached out to Bowman with no response. But police say the men have plenty of family and friends in the Rock Springs area, and someone might have the answers they need to solve this murder once and for all.
This case is not going to die. If you had something to do with it, your name keeps coming up, and we will be at your door. And we will keep knocking until there's a conclusion.
Next, we go knocking on some doors.
Tracy Warren and Chris Dove, you know them.
I do. And the one clue Ben left behind that may finally help cops catch his killer.
Oh, I believe he paid close to $2,000 for it. It's one of a kind. No other one like it.
And we take Mary and Ken Bradley back to the spot where their son's body was found for the very first time.
Hi, Mary's here right now.
Who killed Ben Bradley? The beloved snowboarder was brutally murdered while traveling to the popular ski town of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. At one point in time, 2 men were charged in the killing, but later released. Michelle Segona is back now with more of our all-new investigation.
Chris, it really is a troubling mystery, and today, for the very first time, Ben's parents joined us on an emotional trip to the location where their son's body was found.
Police are keeping a close watch on their 4 persons of interest in the murder of Ben Bradley, and they are still determined to put the case before a judge after failing to get their day in court. It's been a long haul.
And you're not giving up.
Absolutely not. Made a promise to the Bradleys that we wouldn't, and we're not going to.
Do you believe one day, as sure as you're sitting here? Why is this emotional for you?
Talking to Ken Bradley all these years, knowing that his mom had such a difficult time, knowing how close we are, it wears on emotionally.
But there's still a lot of digging to do. And there's one piece of crucial evidence still out there that they would love to get their hands on. It's Ben Bradley's single most prized possession. And finding it could go a long way towards solving his murder, his custom-made snowboard.
His board was missing, the backpack was missing and these things. So I figured it was a robbery.
If you could figure out where that snowboard has been over the last 10 years, it might lead you back to the person who had it.
Absolutely. It'd be another piece of evidence that we could cooperate with statements.
And what is so special about this particular snowboard? I paid a visit to the manufacturer, Never Summer, in Denver, Colorado, to find out.
So this is the board that was a lot like Ben's.
Yeah, this is one of our custom ones.
Tell me, how does this work?
Yeah, just you pop off these tip clips, and then it just comes apart like this.
So these two are the portions that you would use to climb up the hill.
Yeah.
Ben paid well over $1,000 for this one-of-a-kind custom board, choosing his own graphics and placing the order online.
The board was what color?
Black and red on the bottom, and the top was black with an eagle on it, different colors in it.
The numbers just behind the front binding.
This is board 97. Ben's board was 55.
Yeah, that's number 55.
And back in Rock Springs, police say they have never been so close to getting their hands on that board. It involves the person of interest, Tracy Warren, and a shocking piece of testimony.
One of Tracy Warren's siblings had called our office and stated that the snowboard had been in Tracy's house.
Who said this?
Tracy's sister.
I went to Tracy's sister's house to see if I could get some answers.
Hi, it's Michelle Sagana from Crime Watch Daily. Are you home? We're trying to get answers in the Ben Bradley murder investigation. Can you help? Do you know anything about the snowboard?
Obviously, her vehicles are here, and she's home, but she's not going to come to the door.
And police say Tracy's parents also told them they saw the snowboard in Tracy's living room. I tried them at home too.
Hello? Hello, is anyone here? That was Tracy's mom. She's refusing to speak to us.
So, do you believe Ben Bradley and Tracy Warren's paths crossed?
Absolutely.
And then I found Tabitha, a soft-spoken young woman who does not want to give her last name or show her face on camera. She says she has a special connection to both Tracy Warren and Chris Dunn.
I did date both those guys. They were a couple of the nicest guys I've ever dated. They would open car doors for me. They were always concerned about me. You don't think that there's any way that either one of those men could have found Ben Bradley?
Do you
Not in the right state of mind.
Not in the right state of mind? What does that mean?
Do you think that maybe drugs may have impacted their decision?
I couldn't say.
Were they on drugs at the time?
I don't know.
And then we get right to the point.
Who do you think killed Ben Bradley? I don't want to say that on record, you know? I mean, I didn't even really know the guy, but I don't think it's appropriate for me to. Can you please say it on your cameras? And
What if I turn the camera off?
I've already told the cops who I think it was.
Who do you think? What is his name?
I'm not going to say it on camera.
It's all more grist for the mill in what has become a massive murder investigation over the years.
It's not solved. We still need leads. A lot of these people have changed.
And today, Ben's parents returned to Rock Springs for the first time in 10 years to meet with the dedicated cops who are trying to solve their son's murder.
They're declining.
A lot has happened since they were here in the days following Ben's disappearance, and police expect a lot more will be happening down the road.
Was there anyone you had mentioned there was some other forensics that were still that are out that
We probably wouldn't talk about them right now.
Yeah.
But there are. We can give you updates on that.
And then the hardest part for these grieving parents, something they have thought about and put off for a very long time until they were ready.
A lot has happened in 10 years.
A lonely ride out to the middle of the desert north of Rock Springs on their first ever visit to the spot where their beloved son was found murdered at Boar's Tusk.
What gave you the strength to be able to make this trip now?
I've always wanted to come out there and see where he was last. And I'm glad I did.
I just don't understand why they would leave him on top of the ground out here. We're just lucky that happened rather than being buried. If he was buried, we probably would never have gotten anywhere. This would be another unsolved murder with no clue or no starting point.
Right there with the grade 5 is.
Is working on the stop.
And finally, the time has come to leave a parting token of their own in this wilderness. They don't know when or if they will ever return to this place, but Mary and Ken erect a cross above the spot where Ben was found. And there it will stay, in his memory and in their hearts, and in hopes that justice will soon prevail.
I always just wanted to spend a few moments to talk with him, because I know he's here right now.
Are you glad you came? Yeah, too.
The investigators insist that someone, maybe several people, know exactly who killed Ben Bradley, and they're just too afraid to come forward. They're hoping by seeing this, they finally realize it's time to put this matter to rest and let this family heal. So to those people, if you are watching now, you need to grow a conscience and step up. Imagine if this was your son who was killed. All tips can be made anonymously to the Sweetwater County Sheriff's Office. That number is 307-922-5295.